Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Franchise Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is Monday. Happy Monday, August 25th of 2025. I have 6:04 in the p.m. My prayer is that everyone has good health, bask in the glory of the Lord, and have peace. The other day I was going to run outside and do a video on a rainbow. I saw it and it was way in the distance, but it was bold. And it was only about a quarter in length, only about a quarter in the length. It wasn't raining, but it was way in the distance and I just happened to see it. And I just stood there in amazement like, wow, there's a rainbow. It was bright, sunny. In the distance, there were clouds. They weren't dark, yet there was a rainbow. And I thought it was so strange. You know, we grow up on the stories and we grow up oftentimes witnessing a rainbow when there's a storm or there's rain. So the absence of rain, it really got me thinking. Well, I was finishing up some things and I finally went to do the video and it was just fading out. I'm like, wow. The window was less than maybe 10 minutes. I missed it. And I just wanted to present it to you guys, and I couldn't. It's like seeing something fascinating or relating to something beautiful, like a friend or a loved one or a situation or your future spouse. I let it get away. Many times God gifts us. He gifts us with things. And we see it. And we just marvel at it like, wow. But yet we don't grab it. We don't nurture it. We don't. Even if we become acquainted with it, we're not really grasping that full meaning of it. And I want to talk in part about that today. You see, because 222,000. Yeah. 222,000 and 3 days ago, Dr. King he talked about having that dream. Now that's in relation to the date of June 11th, 2024. So let me back up. On August 28th of 1963, in Washington, D.C., Dr. King this is what he did.
And to you, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
So Dr. King built his speech, and then he wrapped it up with this.
All of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, my country tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the hiking Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not
It's the speech that has been featured all throughout history. Again, that was August 28th of 1963. Then June 11th of 2024, a Florida sheriff said this.
I want to define a couple things, and our general was very kind in how he said things. I'm not as usually as elegant in how I say things, so I'm gonna first say that peaceful protests are part of our democracy. We invite people to share their opinions. That's what our country is all about. The key word in that is peaceful, and if it's peaceful, us in law enforcement are going to make sure you have a safe environment to do it in. That's part of that process. If you let it turn violent, you do not want to do that in Brevard County. I'm going to tell you that, and I believe I can speak for my fellow sheriffs around the rest of the state. You don't want to let it happen. And just so there's no confusion, because I don't want to hear any whining later saying we didn't know, I'm going to break it down for you, all right? Because as you watch these riots unfold across the rest of the country, what you are seeing is buildings being burned down, police cars being bricked, having explosive devices thrown on them, having fire, guns pointed at them, bricks thrown at them, on and on. So I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tighter, because we're going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs.
I have a question for you now. When you think about Dr. King's speech, August 28th, 1963, which is exactly 3 days from now. That's powerful, right? Whew. And you think about the sheriff who just made his speech, June 11th of 2024. That's exactly 222,003 days ago. In light of what I have been saying over the past maybe 2 weeks in my videos about the transition that's taking place before us. That is the Homeland Security, police officers, National Guard, and possible the military. We're supposed to be living this dream. Do you think that Trump would resort to a sheriff like that? Do you think that's the end game? I just had to present it. I thought about this today. I thought about extreme. See, we live in a moment of extremism. And people are pushing things to the limit. Whether we're being set up as a country or not, a lot of us, a segment of us, are participating in this. And I guess you can call this part 2 of Law and Order from my first video. Arguably, I'm just going to throw the number out there, arguably over 50% of our youth and young adults have never experienced normalcy. When you looked at the Dr. King speech, every person there had their pants and a belt on the proper way from their waist. This is the generation where at least 50% of the kids, there's either no belt and their butt cheeks are showing while they're walking down the street. What percentage of young kids in terms of what culture and color? I don't know. I say it in the spirit of love because I want people to see the extremes. When a crook, when a low down, dirty crook cannot find a way to trick you into what he or she wants, then it's time to play chess at such a level whereby you participate in your own demise. We have the dream, and now we have the potential of the nightmare. In the book of Proverbs, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. My grandmother used to talk about that a lot. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I believe that when you fear God, it opens up and releases a flow where God can speak to you and hopefully connect with you when you give him your will and have the wisdom of better judgment. This is the generation where a lot of kids didn't have a father. Wayward parents, wayward community, guns in the neighborhood, drugs in the neighborhood. It's taken arguably somewhere between the early 70s till now to get America totally off track. So I'm saying we've been worked on for about 50 years. Maybe I say close to 55, maybe 60 years. If we start around 1970. When I first saw this here, a picture of Barack Obama with a V on his head from the movie I Pet Goat 2, I had my feelings just like you. And today I thought about it as I looked at it. I'm like, Pearson, it's come to this. Because when you look at his eyes, I was so caught up in looking at the V. But when you look at his eyes, in my mind, there's a scripture there. Because the eyes are the window to the soul. Many believe. I've been corresponding back and forth with John. I need to do a show with him. Shout out to John. You guys probably remember I did a live show with John, a guy named John, and Joe Aquaviva. And John says a lot of things that make you think. So the other day when I did the video on AI and how the Prime Minister of AI utilizes AI to consult, I'll put that in quotes, to make decisions, political decisions. And not only Sweden, but other leaders are doing that. They're wrapped up in what AI has to say. Well, John said, well, no, Pearson, I've been telling you about a certain person that they have a scar in their head. And so let me say this to you. Is it possible that the Antichrist, for lack of a better way to put it, the Antichrist will have an incision in his head? And as he thinketh, so is he. As he thinketh, so is he. Is it possible that the Antichrist will have a hole in his head and an incision that as he thinketh, so is he, and as he thinketh, he's connected to AI, so that when you do research, his thoughts become your thoughts. I don't think that's far-fetched. And John was kind of talking along them lines, so I am speaking to him and speaking for him, but this is how I'm looking at it. Is it possible that the Antichrist is the father and the spirit and the heart and the mindset of AI? As a man thinketh, so is he. And Satan wants to be like the Most High. Are we witnessing something that we don't realize is before us? I had the unique opportunity in my teenage years, all the way to maybe 21 years old. I worked at Operation Push. I've told the story before. My mother worked at Operation Push for Reverend Jesse Jackson. We can pray for him. He's really, really sick. So I give him his flowers while he's alive. I and Jesse Jackson, we used to celebrate our birthday at Operation Push. I believe his birthday is October 8th. My birthday is October 9th. So we used to celebrate our birthdays at Operation Push way back in the day. My godmother, Reverend Taplin Barrow, she and I were close. We used to run together, and they all made it possible for me to do a youth ministry there. So on Saturday, I would speak, similar to what you see now. Well, music had gotten so bad with the rap culture. I'm in my 60s now, so you go back to maybe 19, 20 years old, you're going back 40 years. The music had gotten so bad that Jesse Jackson was able to have a meeting with all the major networks for TV and radio. And they pledged that they would no longer play the garbage music, calling a woman a B and an H and all the N words, that they would just stop it. I was at that meeting. Some of the biggest record executives in the world were there at Operation Push. I think that lasted but about 2 years. And then it came back with a vengeance. Well, you know how the music is now. They say that Chicago is the home of drill rap, the author of it. We've got gangster rap. I've yet to see one rapper be converted. And when I say converted, get on these social media and take responsibility for the hell that they have spewed out over the last 40 years. Not until I see that, and I don't care what color you are, gangster rap, drill rap, what you have done, you have sowed seeds, which have brought you to this. Dr. King says, my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. What do you think these eyes saw? And I pet goat too, in this here. When that V comes down Barack Obama's head, down his nose, immediately the flag shreds in half and everything behind him crumbles. But I submit to you, it didn't happen overnight. It was a process. It was a plan. When the devil can't get you, he sets you up. So Dr. King had his speech, and now the Florida sheriff a year ago, he made his speech. Is it possible that Trump will draw from this thought train? Because some of our cities are bad. Some of our youth, Black, Latino, white, Asian, you name it, they're destructive. Even the women. Just want to keep you guys abreast of what's going on, because I got this feeling that it's coming. I got the feeling that it was allowed to progress with it to a certain extreme. And now for every action, there's an equal or greater reaction. So with this extreme, this is what you're looking at. Hear him again.
All about. The key word in that is peaceful. And if it's peaceful, us in law enforcement are going to make sure you have a safe environment to do it in. That's part of that process. If you let it turn violent, you do not want to do that in Brevard County. I'm going to tell you that, and I believe I can speak for my fellow sheriffs around the rest of the state. You don't want to let it happen. And just so there's no confusion, because I don't want to hear any whining later saying we didn't know, I'm going to break it down for you, all right? Because as you watch these riots unfold across the rest of the country, what you are seeing is buildings being burned down, police cars being bricked, having explosive devices thrown on them, having fire, guns pointed at them, bricks thrown at them, on and on. So I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tight, because we're going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here.
My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. After you hear what this sheriff has said, what do your eyes see? I just want you to have perspective. Get your children now, because it's possible. An extreme order will return to America.